I've got a few things that I need to say because it's now 10 o'clock, so the meeting is officially open.
Brilliant.
I've got to say welcome to everybody for coming to the this chat with Ellis Clark. Welcome to the second virtual Gauge Guild show. Just to let you know, this meeting is being recorded. So if you don't want to be seen on the record, then you might want to stop your video. You'll still be able to see what's happening. You'll still be able to hear what's happening. It's entirely up to you. The idea behind recording it is that in a few days' time, we'll be able to get it onto the Guild website and everybody will be able to continue watching this session. If I can ask you to all remain muted and use the chat facility to ask any questions that you've got of Ellis, I will keep on reading the chats and relay them to Ellis. And my assistant, Steve Robinson, who is the Guildex show manager, he's going to assist me by pointing out to me those questions that I miss. I hope you enjoy the show, and now I'd like to hand over to Ellis Clark. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hi, thanks for having me.
Right, how's things going then with Ellis Clark Trains? Is everything going tickety-boo?
Yeah, we're going really well. We've had a year's worth of difference. We've sort of charged ahead whilst COVID's been on with all our production, both upcoming and things that we've got out. We had our own little in-house project, which was the car flats, of which we've just completed the first batch, which went on the website on Tuesday just gone. That was something a bit different. In fact, I might start with that actually, if that's okay, just because it's it was a niche little project. I've been honest throughout the entirety of it, but essentially what happened here was as a business, we're not really a sort of a big discounter, or we don't like to have huge sales and stuff. We try to get our price right to begin with and make it fair. And what happened was we had from our Mark 1 stock, not loads, but a few certain coach types that we realized we were going to have forever. We'd just made too many of them essentially. And what we thought is, what can we do with these without, half pricing them or something like that? And we thought, well, what did BR do? Well, BR changed them into car flats. So we thought, can we do that in model form? Essentially, yes, we could. So we set off on this sort of what has now been a 4 or 5 month journey of taking a load of our Mark 1 stock, stripping them down for parts, literally as would have happened in real life. So we took the roofs, the coach sides, the interiors off, which then we ended up with buckets of interiors, coach sides, roofs and components that were perfect for almost kit building aids, which I've done way better than I actually anticipated, because a lot of them have sold out and people have been like, are you going to produce those separately? So that was one half of it. From there, we had the chassis and the bogies and everything else. And essentially what we did was we contacted a load of different industries in the, a load of different companies within the industry to produce the different parts so we could make the chassis up into car flats. So what we ended up doing is, this is one here. So we've got etched brass sides from PPD brass. We've got 3D printed ends on the wooden versions, which were from a company called Awesome 3D Print. We've got sprung screw links and interstanter couplings from Premier Components. We've got laser cut wooden tops from Intentio. And then basically we've been putting them all together in the office to ready to go as ready to run car flats basically, but almost built. So it's basically a combination between kit building and ready to run. How we've made them. I mean, all the sides were soldered up, which it's okay if you're doing about 2 wagons, but trust me, when you're doing about 200, it becomes quite a task. And, but it's been an adventure throughout it, to be honest. And we've learned a lot about the challenges of actually doing almost like a production run in house. I mean, for example, the painting, originally we were going to set up a big booth outside under a tent and do it over the course of a weekend, sort of painting them all up. We started and it was too cold basically, and we were getting too much orange peel on it, so that wasn't good enough. So we thought, okay, can we do it in the office? We thought, right, let's set the toilet up, mask every single wall, put ventilators in there, put the heating on, and that'll make a nice little warm spray booth. Neil did about 5 or 6 of them, and he came out looking blue head to toe, just covered in paint. So we thought, okay, we can't do that. In the end, we actually painted them, or used a car shop to spray paint all the sides up and everything. So we've been taking etched sides over to a spray shop. They've been painting them all up, and to be honest with you, the finish has been absolutely immaculate. We had to thin down the paints a bit and work that out and get the color right and everything, but that was all done. And then here we are. The car flats are now done and in stock. So that's been our biggest adventure of COVID, shall I say? The thing. Would I do it again? Never. But it's been fun. It's been fun all the way. We've learned a lot. We've learned a heck of a lot. So yeah. So that's one of the things. From there, we've also obviously been progressing the press floors, which are well on the way now. We should have a decorated sample in 2 or 3 weeks. Thompson's, we recently got the decorated sample on those. They're fantastic, to be honest with you. And we did what we like to do, which is we always put, whenever we get samples or drawings or information, we always put it on the Gauge Guild forum and we ask for feedback. It's not an empty request, because we got a few requests, or a few people were asking, and rightly so, about the running of them. Obviously, with coaches like the Darcy ones that we do, they are brass sided and they've got die cast bogies and chassis, so they do have a decent amount of weight to them. And naturally, if you're pulling a large rake of, well, we're doing the Elizabethan 11 coach sets, and if you're pulling a rake of 11 coaches that are brass sided and they've got die cast bogies, that, you know, that is a lot for a loco to pull, and not every loco is going to pull them. So we got a couple of people asking, you know, is there anything you can do about rerunning of them? Essentially, is there any way of doing ball bearings in the bogies? So we took that advice on literally on the day. We did some tests, and then we recently announced that we're doing a range of L&ER bogies all fitted with ball bearings, so you can upgrade the Thompsons, and the free running of them now with the ball bearings is incredible. If I had the budget, I'd fit every single coach with them, but we had to go sort of on the highest end of the ball bearings, because they're articulated. They've got to withstand undulations in track work and everything like that. You couldn't just go for a standard ball bearing like you might get in a computer fan or something like that, for example. It has to withstand ups and downs and left to right and side play and everything. So very high quality, basically, what we fit them with. But they're now like an upgrade, if you like, and that all came from the forum. So it was great to get that feedback and great to act upon it. Really good. Yeah, but I'll hand back over to you. So if there's any questions and things coming in,
I'll just say to everybody that if you do have any questions at all, please use the chat facility on Zoom. Type us a question. I'll read it out to Ellis. If you know anything you've got to ask him about any of the things he's showing us. But in the meantime, at the last virtual show, I should say, you brought to us the Wickham trolley and the
Yes,
cars.
yeah.
Yeah, how's that gone?
Fantastically well, to be honest. We yesterday I got a 3D printed sample. I kind of want to show you it, but I don't, because 3D printed's never, well, it is on the Wickham is so fine, the detailing wise that we're doing on it, that the 3D printed sample almost doesn't do it justice, if you like. I'll get it anyway. Now that I've said that, hang on.
Well done, Ellis. I hope you're all enjoying the conversation. Here he is, look.
So this is what came yesterday, our little 3D printed Wickham trolley. This was basically, we got this so we can do motor tests on it. We, whenever we do anything, before we go into production, we do a number of tests, basically. Stress tests, reliability, everything. We only like using high quality components, so we had a motor in mind that we wanted to use, which has been customized, so that took a while to get a sample from the factory, but we've literally just finished testing it. That's all good to go, basically. So we're moving on to the next stage very shortly, so we're all on track with that. It's a challenging little thing, because you can see how small the Wickham trolley is, and it's so detailed everywhere. Everything's so fine, and it's like, where do you put the motor, where do you put the chip? And we've got a lot of people asking for DCC sound. Well, where do you put a speaker?
Yes, I said that to you last time, didn't I? Where you gonna put the sound?
But where there's a will, there's a way. I can brag that I've probably got the best CAD designer in the world. So she's been working hard on it. And for those who don't know Nikki, she's a big fan of the Wickham trolley, because it wasn't my idea, it was Nikki's idea to do the Wickham trolley. And but when she showed me the CADs, because she'd been doing CADs in her spare time of a Wickham trolley, I said, that's just incredible. We got to make it. We got to make that. That'll just be brilliant on a layout. I don't have the trolley to go with it. Sorry, the trailer to go with it. But that's obviously the little unit. I enjoyed getting some little O gauge figures yesterday and making sure they sat in it nicely, because obviously people want to populate them. They look brilliant with some figures in as well.
The Tim Ingram said that it does look great. Ellis is also suggested that possibly chip or speakers in the roof. So
yes, so, not way ahead of you, but that's literally, I mean, chip wise, we might have a bit of room underneath to put it in. Speaker wise, it would be, yeah, hidden under the roof, which wouldn't be too bad actually at all. You'd have to go like that to be able to see it. So yeah, that's what we're sort of working towards at the moment. Because
or possibly hollowed out figures.
Well, that would be a small speaker, but yeah, that's not a bad shout. Yeah.
Right. On a slightly different subject, Rob Hales has asked, what about the Black 5? How's that coming on?
Of course, yeah. So that's our, if you like, it's our flagship project. That is coming along superbly. The Black 5, so it's a massive project, and we want it to be perfect for all the way from start. When I started it to finish, I wanted it to be right. I mean, I've dealt in O gauge long enough, both in new and pre-owned, to know what people want to see out of a locomotive, what it's got to do, what the stress and strains it's got to withstand, and everything like that. So right from the start, right from the design brief originally, we wanted to tick every single box. We wanted to create something that's not going to make ripples but make waves, basically, in the O gauge market. And I think when we showed the updated CADs last year, end of last year, I think that sort of showed. I mean, the feedback was incredible, and for those who haven't seen them, and the detail in the cab and the pipe work, But essentially, the way it all goes together is so clever, and Nicky's engineered it to a point where you're not going to have, it's so detailed, but it's also so robust. And with the ABC gearbox and Maxwell motor installed, the amount of testing we did on the running side of it as well, both on garden layouts indoor and things like that, to make sure it'll pull, large rakes, but also continue running forever. Essentially, we're now tooling it. Everything's going ahead fantastically well. I gave Nicky, or rather, our philosophy was to spend extra time at the start, at the design stage, to get it right before we started making it and figured out a problem down the line, if you like. I didn't want to ever come across something that like, oh, that's a big problem that we didn't think about. I thought, let's spend the time up front, let's get this absolutely right, and then let's make it. So to be honest with you, it's going, I can't believe how well engineered it actually is, and I can't wait to start showing samples when they come through from the tooling in a few months and stuff. Because I mean, you've seen, if anyone's seen like the undersides of the press flows and the detail that's underneath those, well, it's all there on the Black 5, and the way it goes together is so clever, and it's so robust as well. Everything joins. It's not just bits put in different places. It's all interconnected and all very smartly put together. And that's what's happening with the Black 5. And it's, as I say, it's now in tooling. So yeah, there's been delays definitely, but I'd rather that than have something that had faults on it come to release. So we're all cracking on now, and we're working on the projects for after that, basically. So that one's almost like a tick just onto the factory, and yeah, we crack on really.
When do you expect it to be available then?
Yeah, so we were hoping for end of this year. It might push into early next year now, to be honest with you. I suppose it's I always take the blame for this. I'm still young in this business and a bit naive and probably optimistic with time frames on things. When you always get these when you're backing and forth in between factories and making samples and everything like that. That's where the time gets swallowed up. Before you know it, you're 3 months down the line and you almost feel like you've done nothing. In essence, you've been testing and you've been waiting for test parts to be made and stuff. That's something for me to learn, to be honest, in the future, to not over promise on delivery dates. But end of this year, starting next year is what we're currently looking at there. So I'm unbelievably excited about it, because I can't wait to, now that we've got Thompsons with ball bearings, I can't wait to put a Black 5 and as many Thompsons as I can possibly fit behind it and see how many it'll pull around my test track for 48 hours. So
that'd be good to see.
Yeah, it will. And press floors, of course. I might just put everything behind it and see what it'll do. You can probably put a Wickham on top of a car flat if you wanted.
So are you able to tell us whereabouts in the world it's actually being manufactured, this Black 5?
Yeah, it is being made in China, the Black 5. I mean, we do the final assembly bits in the UK. We're using an ABC gearbox, as you know, and Maxwell motor. So that's all put in the UK, and we do final testing in the UK. The DCC is coming from Zemo as well. So anyone having the DCC sound and smoke options, that'll be fitted in the UK as well.
You mentioned the sound options. Are you using some brand new sound files, or are they? Yes,
brand new sound files, and we'll just and then we have to engineer the smoke unit to work, because it's synchronized smoke as well. And that's quite a task. Making synchronized smoke is quite, because you got to have almost like a fan and a chamber to build up the smoke and then to sort of pulse it out. It's quite a task engineering it to work, but it'll be superb. It'll be superb, and it paves the way as well. A lot of these things, because we're doing it for the first time, once we've got them spot on, it paves the way for future locomotives and how we'll do them, and it speeds up the process for those as well. And don't ask me what my next locomotive is, because I'm not telling you.
Big secret at the moment, is it?
It is.
I suppose the way things are going, Ellis, with other manufacturers, that one, you could learn from the mistakes of other manufacturers. I mean, without being critical of certain manufacturers, there has been some criticism of the sort of quality and, well, not so much quality, but the way that they seem to have been produced, things dropping off, etc. That and issues about how well things run. That you can sort of take a step back and be able to sort of say, well, they could have done this, or they could have done that, or they haven't done this, or they haven't done that, and sort of use that to your own advantage.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of that. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, the manufacturing game is very difficult, because there's so many areas you've got to bring together, so many parts of manufacturing, and then you've got a budget to work to and a retail price you want to release it at and everything like that. Essentially the biggest thing we've got in the guild, and that I always like to use, as I say, is the forums. To be honest with you, the knowledge there is far outweighs what I have up in this noggin up here, and asking the questions and what people want to see, and then adding to that, like I say, adding to what I know through, I mean, to be honest with you, from selling pre-owned for the past 10 years, it's a fantastic insight into what actually happens to a model 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years after release. What starts to go wrong, what needs replacing, what doesn't, what works, what doesn't work. That gives me a fantastic insight when we come to designing something, to say we need to do this, this, and this. We shouldn't do that, and put it out there. And like I say, the forum for manufacturers like myself, the forum is a fantastic tool for putting a question out there and letting people give you that feedback, and implementing it, listen it and implement it. For me, it's I will always listen to people and do it. People have far greater knowledge than what I will ever have in this hobby, in this industry. So it's great that we've got a tool there to actually be able to use and act upon it.
Yeah. I'm getting asked, how close are we to getting the press flows?
Mm-hmm. So we get a decorated sample in 3 or 4 weeks. The production run should be with us July, August. That should be every livery.
Fingers and everything crossed.
Yes, it's always a waiting game, because obviously the idea of getting your samples is to highlight any areas that you want to improve on or change. We're incredibly critical, so a lot of things you might just think, I'll let that slide. We don't let anything slide, to be honest, and any changes you may take about 3 months. So if there is any, we're hoping we got everything sorted in the original samples. I mean, these look almost perfect, but when you're being unbelievably critical, and I mean, we're talking tiny things that you can't even see, that we wanted to make sure we're right again, so they stand the test of time. It does add delays, but fingers crossed, everything crossed, touch wood. If the livery samples come through and we're happy with them, then we go straight to manufacturing, and July, August we should have them, which should be brilliant.
Can you just highlight any of the faults that were in the original test samples that you found, or would you prefer not to?
No, I love being honest and open. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything that'll I can actually show you that'll actually make sense. The biggest thing, and this is tiny, there was a little gap almost there along the top. That's where the top sits in basically to the hopper of it. That just basically, when you design it, you get loss and gain in materials that you can sort of calculate and factor, but real life it can change. I mean, we're talking, you know, fractions of a millimeter. We wanted that to fill out and be absolutely flush, perfect clipping. That was the main thing. Other than that, that's about it. Oh, the brake hoses, we wanted those to fall basically a little bit shallower, closer to the buffer beam, so we changed those. That's about it, really. Everything else, to be honest with you, they've done a fantastic job on it. Oh, we strengthened the ladders at the end a little bit, again, making sure I mean, they're very, very fine, some of the ladders on them. Some basically the handlebars on the ladders, and we wanted to make sure they didn't get knocked off in when taking them out of packaging or anything, so we just strengthened those a little bit. That was about it, to be honest with you. As I say, it was so well engineered and designed in the first place, that yeah, we didn't really have to do too much. And Nikki did a lot of tests and a lot of backing and forth before we sent it off for tooling. So yeah, we didn't really get too much we had to do to it, thankfully.
So just to correct, is that a die-cast chassis and a plastic top?
It is, yes. So die-cast chassis, the weight's fantastic, and the sprung axle boxes as well. Yeah, so it's a die-cast chassis, plastic top, and then a lot of the pipe work is die-cast as well. We've obviously got brass-turned buffers and plates, brass and die-cast axle box dampeners as well. So yeah, an amalgamation of materials, and yeah, that's what we got.
Okay. Going back to the Wickham trolley,
Yes.
you said you've had it 3D printed. Is that going to be the production method for them, or is that just a... No, that's just that was literally so that we could see one in the flesh, fit a motor to it, and make sure that everything went together nicely and there was nothing visibly wrong. Usually we wouldn't actually 3D print a model, but because it was a case of trying to make sure the motor and chip fit in and aren't visible, we needed something physical we could see and almost test out in situ. So yeah, no, the production model, which is sort of why I said I almost didn't want to show you a 3D printing model, because the production will be much finer and better to look at and everything. But I must admit, I do love the Wickham trolley. It's such a neat little thing. I mean, they are small, but they're so fine inside, and I'd love to be able to do some sounds for it as well, because they use a little Ford engine, and I think that'd be great trundling around on a layout. I think that'd be superb. Yeah, I think a lot of people have just bought them for the laugh, because they're such a niche little funny model. So yeah, I think they're a great little thing. And just to remind people, if you've got any questions at all, not just about these products he's showing here today, but any of the Ellis Clark range, please bring it on. And here's your chance to ask Ellis absolutely anything.
Yeah, honestly, don't hold back. As I say, I like, which is why I use the forum, and I'm not shy to it. Any feedback, criticism, anything, I'll happily take it on, more than happily.
A quick question then, Ellis, in relation to the three items that are sort of in production or lined up for production: the Wickham trolley, the press flows, and the Thompsons. Are they sort of going to hit the sort of price range that you indicated on the website?
Yeah. So the press, all the announced prices on the press flows, the Wickhams, the Black 5, that's what we're going for. That's sort of set at the moment. We did change the prices of the Thompsons we honoured all pre-order prices. Everyone who ordered at the 199. We did unfortunately have to up the price to 229 on them. We do some multi-buy deals on them. Essentially, it was a case of we wanted to get everything in there and get it right, and we hadn't left ourselves quite enough in the retail at 199 to do what we wanted to do. So unfortunately, I did have to sort of make the decision to put the price up. But as I say, the reasons for that were all good in terms of making sure the detail was increased, and there was a lot of stuff that we wanted to improve on, you know, from model to model to model, and bits that people's always wanted to see added to the coaches and stuff. I mean, the fineness of these now is superb. I mean, we've got things like, we've got the metal steps on there. The bogies are all detailed underneath. The sides have all the detail fitted in. The worst thing about the brass coaches is we separately fit hinges. For anyone who's fitted the hinges to the Suburbans, you'll know how small the plastic hinges are. Yeah, which is why we offer to fit them. Which is why we've fit these in the factory, but they're so small. But again, we wanted to make sure everything was there. Likewise in the interiors, this time we've got, you know, separately molded interior lamps, and there's mirrors, there's brass luggage racks in there. I mean, you know, everything is on these Thompsons. We wanted everything to be there. We wanted to up the game as much as we possibly could, and you know, again, just creating the best possible model we can, really.
And am I right in thinking that you offer them with Buckeye couplings and with
Yeah, so what we do is they all come as standard with KD couplings, and then we also offer screw link couplings as well. Sort of what we'll do with what we've done on the Mark ones on the Thompsons, which is we just give the screw links free of charge if you want one for your brake end or your loco end or something like that. To be honest with you, no one really puts the screw links in between the coaches, because I'm sure you'll know it's a nightmare trying to do this and then put the corridor connections together and stuff. But yeah, for the brake ends and loco ends, we always give screw links free of charge should you want them. Yeah.
And the corridor connections, are they sprung or are they silicon rubber?
Sprung. So these are sprung. Same system on the Mark ones. Magnetic coupling, sprung, and they'll go around. When you extend the KD out, they'll go around second radius curves as well. So they've been really popular. Oh, we obviously, because it's unsightly, the magnets there. We do the corridor M plates, the L and ER style ones as well. Free of charge as well, so you can put a blanking plate on the end of coach end plate there as well to hide that.
Come on, guys, you're not giving us many questions to ask. I'm having to think on my feet here. Come on.
It's probably because I talk too much. I probably end up covering everything by accident.
Going back to the Black 5 then, what's the body material? Is that
I'm quite a fan of how it's all put together and made in the end. Again, that's a bit of a mix of components. Most of it's die cast on the body. Great thing about that is it's self-weighted. It's then by doing a die cast, by doing like a die cast boiler and things and die cast running plate, it means that you don't have to then add the weight into the boiler. So that then gave us the space to put the chip and the speakers and everything, which meant we didn't have a massive plug between. We still got a plug between tender and loco because we've got working lamps and pickups on the tender, but it's not it's not one of those huge ones that you where you have to try and make sure the pins are all there and they don't bend. It's not one of those. So yeah, it's made out of a lot of die cast. There's some plastic in there where die cast couldn't be used either because you couldn't get the detail on it or it was too thick for certain areas. So like the cab walls are plastic. It just had to be to get the detail. Tender sides and back are etched brass as well. So when it's all put together, it'll look, it really will look superb. Yeah, I cannot wait to to show a sample of that off, because honestly, the pipe work detailing underneath it runs all the way from back to front. You know, I didn't even realize how many pipes were there until Nikki drew them in and caddied them up and everything. It was honestly, it's incredible the way it goes together, and the engineering that's gone into it is something else. It really is, really is.
That's terrific.
Yeah. And it'll go around second radius somehow. I mean, yeah, with the amount of detail that's there, I don't know how, but yeah, it will. So yeah.
Someone's just asked what the time scale is on the Thompsons.
Yeah, so the first ones, which are going to be the Elizabethan stock, will be with us summer, so probably August time this year. That's when they start coming through. Again, big delays on that, but we made a load of changes and improvements to them midway through. But yes, they'll be with us summertime this year. So yeah, we're just waiting on those. A couple of other things we changed as well from the matte ones. We've matted down the roofs now when we paint those, so they're sort of a way less shiny. And not that they really needed improving the paint finish on the side, because everyone's amazed how they are painted. But we've improved the painting on the brass sides as well. So, yeah, but August time they should start coming in.
Right. The other thing to ask is the lettering and that on the coaches, is that mask sprayed on, or is it transfer?
So most of in the factory, I'll have to double check that if I'm honest with you. Some of the so we're doing all the coaches either like unnumbered, unlettered, but also factory lettered and finished. That is, if I'm honest, I'll have to double check how they plan to do it in the factory over there. I've never yeah, no, it's fine. When we've had them in the past, I've never actually checked, but they are, when they factory apply numbers and things, they are stunning. They're absolutely perfect. You can't beat them. So yeah, whichever way they do it, they probably won't tell me. They'll probably have a secret way that they do it that we'd all love to know, and they won't tell us. But yeah, I'll find that out. I'll find that out.
Is Brexit affecting your sales into the EU at all?
If honest, yes. Yeah, they've dropped by about 80%, something like that. So we're having huge problems, both with UK and overseas, because what's happened is none of the couriers had the infrastructure ready to deal with all the exports. And what's happened is all their sorting offices have just become backlogged with parcels, and we've had to change couriers about 3 or 4 times, depending on who's got the biggest backlog of parcels in sorting offices. So yeah, I think it's still all getting ironed out. It'll be what it is. It will sort itself out. I think at the moment it just sort of happened. We didn't expect COVID to hit us, and I think obviously, unfortunately, Brexit didn't have the personnel available to get it all ironed out before it actually happened. It sort of happened, and now everyone's trying to figure out what's actually going on and what it means. And the information we get keeps changing from like couriers in terms of like what paperwork we need to give them. Certain people in the EU will get a parcel and they'll say, I've just paid £60 clearance plus import tax, and it's like, whoa. Certain couriers are charging unbelievable amounts, certain ones aren't. Then Royal Mail obviously pass it on to whichever country it goes to their local version of Royal Mail, or whatever it does. And so at the moment we're still sort of figuring all that out. It's but again, it'll be what it'll be. It'll get ironed out at some point, no doubt. We just need to a few months down the line, it should all be okay.
Ellis, thank you very much for the coaches at Christmas time.
Excuse me. somebody not on mute? If you can ask the questions via chat, it would be appreciated. Then everybody can see the
Oh,
question.
sorry, I didn't know how to do that. What have I got to do?
Go ahead then on this occasion, please.
What do I do in another occasion?
Well, there's at the bottom of your screen, there's a little chat icon.
All right, yeah.
And then that launches a little box, which you simply type into like texting, hit return, and it brings up the question.
I'll do that in future. Can I carry on now, please?
Yeah, by all means, try it now. The reason for that is if you stay muted, then background noises, bumps, bangs, and things like that
Right. Okay.
that interfere with the Zoom session don't happen. Thanks ever so much for your help.
Ellis, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
I had 2 Mark 1s off you for Christmas. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
There was a problem in delivery, and I had the 2 I ordered, but you sent another 2 in case it didn't arrive in time for Christmas.
Oh, right. Yes, that sounds like.
But at the end, you gained because I kept all 4.
Oh, it sounds like I half know what I'm doing.
But I do appreciate the effort you went to, or your team went to get the coaches delivered in time.
Oh, no
They
problem.
run very nicely. I've got no problem with them. But to put the lighting on in the coaches, there's a switch underneath which you turn on.
Yep.
Can that be done via my power cab controller?
It can't, unfortunately. No, it's a manual switch. It is something, again, that people have asked for. So it's something we're going to look for in the future in terms of having the lighting to be able to switch it on and off by DCC. Probably not in the Thompsons, but probably the coach run after that is where we're going to look at doing that. I having been able to fit them with DCC, so you can turn the lights on and off with your controller, DCC controller. But at the moment, it's just a manual switch, unfortunately.
Right, because you've got to, if it gets near night time, you want to do a night run, you've got to turn them all up and
yes,
went on
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. I totally hear what you're saying. Yeah, it is something we've been asked. I promise it is something we're going to look to do on. As I said, probably not the Thompsons, if I'm honest, because we've made so many changes and I don't want any more sort of delays at the moment. But definitely something which we're looking at for the next coach run to do. Yeah, definitely.
One final thing, my other coaches have been just like the real thing when they were in business.
Yeah.
And I built those myself.
Yeah.
And they couple up and run quite well with those.
Oh, brilliant.
Because I altered the just like the real thing coaches to Buckeye couplings.
Yep.
I had 3 linked before.
Yep.
And that was a real pain trying to connect those up. Once they were connected, you left them alone,
Yes, you did. That's it. Yeah, never take them apart. Yeah.
But no, they came together quite nicely. And there's obviously slight differences, like the windows are different on yours to theirs, but it's more realistic because from what I can see, they never were all exactly the same in real life.
No, they really weren't, were they? Paint finishing everything.
Especially today in preservation societies, they seem to grab whatever they can get.
Yes, yeah. In real life, the differences between every single coach was, as like say, paint finishes, some fade, how they were put together, when they made repairs, when they replaced components, everything. Yeah, probably no 2 coaches alike, to be honest.
They all run quite nicely. I'm very surprised at the smoothness they run.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Oh, they're good, aren't they? They make a nice clickety-clack.
Yeah, it's very good. Well, because I'm in a garden myself, I don't have it in a house. And they look quite good when they're running as well,
Oh, fantastic.
It all works very well indeed. So once again, thanks very much.
Oh, no problem. No, great to hear it. Great to hear it.
Thank you, Raymond. And we do have some more questions coming in.
Yep.
Is there any chance of ready-to-run Pullmans, K-types? East Coast.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We've to answer the questions that are coming up. Have you thought about Maunsell coaches? Yes, we have. Have you thought about any other Southern Region coaches? Yes. Great Western? Yes. Pullman's? Yeah. The great thing is there's so many things to do in O-Gauge in Ready to Run, and the way the Darstad coaches have gone down is, you know, and the way they're built, they're so popular. They're so popular. And yeah, to be honest with you, we've got a list, and it's almost a case of what order would you want to do them almost, you know, that it's a bit like that. But yeah, we've got requests for so many different types, and yeah, I'm sure we'll make some people happy in the future with what we announce.
I suppose, Ellis, that sort of moving on from that, the same applies to the good stock. Would you?
Yes, definitely.
I mean, the problem is that there are a lot of firms out there now that are producing the sort of the basic stuff, the vans, the mineral wagons, etc. That sort of picking a prototype that's one's going to sell well,
yes,
is difficult. But I mean, yeah, something like what you've produced would be really appreciated, I think, by O-Gauge modelers generally. So yeah. In fact, somebody's already suggested a grain wagons, please, from Tim Ingram. So,
well, we like things that are we like challenges. Put it that way. We like doing. I mean, the press flows were a big challenge. You know, getting the detail. You know, they're not a square sided or an open top wagon, and they've got pipes going everywhere. I mean, getting all these ribs at the, you know, as fine as they are at the right angles, and the ladders, and then all the pipe work and the hopper, you know, definitely not a straightforward wagon, far from. But yeah, we like doing, you know, different stuff. And the fantastic thing about O-Gauge is, like I say, there's so much left to do in it. Yeah, it's not, you know, it's probably at the stage where 4 mil was in the 1990s, something like that. You know, we got all these models, all these real life locos, coaches, wagons that, you know, essentially are open to do. Same with all us as manufacturers. We just got to make sure we don't do the same things.
do you talk to one another?
To some, yes, yeah. I'd love to talk more, actually, but I suppose it's difficult, isn't it? Because if you've got your heart set on, if you ever did clash on a model and you've both got your heart set on doing something, it's very hard to come to an agreement of who's going to do it and who's not. Yeah. So I'd love to all sit down at a table and say, right, who's doing this, who's doing that, and, you know, and then not clash. Hopefully a lot of it, there's so much out there to do, and I think different companies focus on different eras of the country as well. I'm up north, just as an example, Dapol are in Great Western Territory, so you know, we often do different things anyway, because obviously what you like to see running as well I mean, I always go for what people want to see over, you know, what I'd want to see, but naturally what I'd like to see takes a little, you know, has a little bit of an influence in it as well. Sorry, not what I'd like to see, but anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I would, yeah. I'd like to speak with manufacturers probably more, and yeah, make sure we don't clash, because there's definitely no need to, especially in O-Gauge. There's more than enough for us all to do different stuff on, and yeah, supply the market.
Okay then. Well, we're past the allotted 45 minutes, which we'd really gone for. Unless there's anybody got any urgent questions, I think it must be time to say thank you very much to Ellis for his contribution.
Yeah, much appreciated, Ellis. Thank you.
No problem. No, great to talk. Great to answer some questions.
It's been really good of you. We hope to see you again live in September.
Stafford.
In the person, in the flesh.
Stafford, yes.
Stafford, yes.
Fantastic.
I will come and say hello.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
We'll
Honestly,
all be saying hello.
If yeah, I mean, I can't see why not, but I cannot wait to get out to Stafford to the O-Gauge show. I mean, we'll have cabinets, we'll have samples, we'll have hopefully we'll have some models to some brand new models to sell just in. So yeah, that'd be absolutely superb. Yeah.
That's absolutely great. Well, I'll just finish off then by saying thank you to everybody for coming and joining in the session. Hope you've enjoyed it, and hope it's been worth your time coming and having a chat with Ellis. Thank you very much, Ellis.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much, guys. Anytime.
Thank you for coming up in chat now. All right.
Perfect. Thanks again, guys. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
Okay, Ellis. Thank you very much.
Thanks again. Thanks again, guys. Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Right. Bye.